Welcome everybody to the next episode of the Cannabis Review. I'm delighted to be joined on this episode by Giacomo Bulleri, who's the founder of the Bulleri Law Firm in Italy. How are you keeping today, Giacomo?
Hi, thank you for invitation.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. Do you maybe want to give everybody an overview of how you came to found your own law firm and your position in the industry at the moment?
Yeah, I work as advisor in for EIA, the European Industrial Hemp Association, and Federcanapa, the Italian National Association, as well as advisor for some companies who are interested to develop their business here in Europe.
Okay, very interesting. And do you maybe want to jump onto the first topic? And we've had a number of guests from around Europe, and we've been able to piece together a picture of various different countries. But can you maybe give us an overview of what's happening in Italy when it regards to the cannabis industry, both medical and adult use?
Yeah, I think that the situation in Italy is a little bit complicated, as everything in this country, and but especially in the hemp sector, we are making progress in two directions. First, the Ministry of Agriculture is defining the sector plan for hemp with the trade associations. This is an important step because it will be based on the concept of the whole plant as an agricultural product. It will allow farmers to grow and process the whole plant for legal purpose under Law 242 of 2016. And this is very important because it guarantees the agricultural part and is in line with the concept of the whole plant approach, also promoted by UNCTAD, the United Nations. And second, we are waiting for the consequence of the TAR Lazio, the Italian Administrative Court ruling that annulled the part of the Ministry Decree on medicinal plants that limit its use to seeds and derivatives only. This could allow further development of the sector for the farmers who cultivate in GACP according to the European procedure, who will first be able to grow them and transform them into anti-essential oils and then supply the product to herbalists and pharmacists who will be able to make galenic preparations. I think that the Ministry of Health will not agree on this scenario, but all that remains is to wait for the ruling to become final next September. For adult use is a question of political choice and political will. And now in Italy, I think there is not a real political will to proceed in the way of the regulation of the adult use of cannabis. And the medical cannabis is a question who don't present real problem under the regulatory law aspect. Is a real problem of supply because here in Italy the possibility the growing it's all just for the army, and now we are waiting for a partnership between army and private companies, but the way is far to because we need to work and on the training of the doctors, because if the doctors don't prescribe cannabis, the pharmacy don't sell, and there is not a real business. So this is a situation. Is moving forward for we're making important steps for hemp, not for adult use, not really for medical cannabis.
Okay, very, very informative. And is there a territory, or does Spain have a large output of hemp grown every year? Is it one of the biggest producers in Europe, or is it still a small industry?
Yeah, I think so. Italy is a country with big possibilities, but we need take an example, in my opinion, from the North American, for example, market for the less bureaucratic and liberalist approach to the innovative sector. We are fighting again this situation here in Italy, but we are step by step moving forward, especially to avoid a situation of overproduction in hemp sector as in another country, and we are work in progress too. And as other countries in the hemp and cannabis sector, we are solve some problems through the court and through the statement in the court.
Okay, and over in Italy, do they have? We see around Europe, there's lots of CBD stores that sell CBD flower and HHC, and some of them with Delta 8. Are they available in Italy, or are they just not around at all?
Good question, and because it's the other end of the discussion. Now, in the one hand, we are talking about the step forward, but in the other hand, there are still gray areas for CBD flowers. Here in Italy, so-called cannabis light. Now, where there is a sector where there are different interpretations from case to case and from area to area. So, in from a municipality near closer, can be happens that in a town there is a criminal trial, and in another town there is not a criminal trial. I believe that the outcome of the criminal trial in Parma against Mr. Luca Marola, the founder of Easy Joint, will be decisive for media attention and the political weight of this trial. Of course, I think that this outcome could help us the CBD flowers regulation, because the CBD flowers must find a clear position as an inhalation product, as in Belgium, in Luxembourg, or in Switzerland, because I don't think that the Italy can continue to sell this product as ornamental product or for just for collecting, because this is not a big business, is a business just for little companies and not for bigger companies. Not good for investment. There is not clarity, and certainly low.
And do they have any rough estimates of what the medical cannabis market size is? How many people in the country are open to possibly subscribe? And then is there market data for the adult use market? Is it 5% of the population, or do you have a rough idea on that figure?
Yeah, you're right, because I think that we need to create this market too in the cannabis, this business. We need to start and begin from the training of the doctors and for pharmacies, because if doctors prescribes very few yet cannabis, pharmacy don't sell. If a pharmacy don't sell, don't buy. And the pharmacy don't buy, there is not a real market. So we need work on training of doctors too, training and distribution, because without training there is not a real distribution in Italy now. In one hand, but in other hand, I see, this is my personal opinion, that we can start to import some API, some product, because we have yet some little regulatory problems who limit the possibility to create a vertical facility from the plant until the final product, especially for the extract, GMP extract for pharmaceutical use. So could be an intermediate situation where some API are import from other member state because we need the EU GMP. And so are working on it too.
And do you find that there's any reports and data sets in Europe that actually realistically have projected the size of both the CBD side and the HHC and the medical size market and gotten a rough valuation on a country by country basis? Or do you think that it's all the
No,
information is not exact?
yeah, I think that as I also explained and in the working groups at European and national level where I participate, the solution must be unified at European level. We need a single approach, and we must avoid a two-speed Europe where some countries can freely produce and sell whole plant of cannabis and CBD products, and other countries where the same products cannot be produced and sold, because this situation only creates damage to the business and distortion of the common market organization and the market competition, because the countries as Mediterranean countries as Italy and Spain with a restrictive regulations will find themselves in the position of being subject to the import of the same banned products due to the effect of the free movement of goods, with the damage only for the national producers. For example, if in Italy you can't produce tea with leaves, but you can import the same products from Austria or from Croatia. This is a situation we need to resolve it to avoid a two-speed Europe. This is our problem in Europe. But at the same time, at the European level, the work is pending, and the main and the relevant Direction Generale, DG Agri, DG Sante, and DG Grow are working on their respective papers on cosmetic, on feed, on the food, and we are working on the human use and the human destination, because the real game is played in Europe, not in the single member states, because we know there are member states with a extensive interpretation with temporary framework that already all produce and sell it for CBD products as France, Poland, but there is a complicated and particular situation where it's not possible obtain a real registration as food supplement, but there is a similar procedure of notifying procedure that allow to sell there's CBD products in some countries. So we need to avoid this situation where some countries can freely produce, and other where the same products cannot be produced and sold.
And one last thing before I let you go, you mentioned the court case that's happening in Italy in Parma. That's basically going to determine the next kind of stage of what the industry looks like. We've got one in Ireland as well, as I'm sure you're aware that some of the companies have court cases against our government, and that case is going to determine how the industry in Ireland. Is it a case of all these different single countries in the European Union? Will they have their laws overruled by the European Commission, no matter what they do? Or is there always going to be this fragmented framework if everybody doesn't get inside with the exact same laws?
Is a matter very, very important that the national courts are applying the European law. The Italy, the Tor Lazio, Italian Administrative Court, the French State Council are stated that the European law prevails on national rules because the national rules that are against the European law, for example, against the use of the whole plant, are against the produce quantitative restriction that is it's forbidden, and this principle are stated as already stated from the European Court of Justice in 2003, the first time against Sweden in the Hammerstein case, and recently in 2020 in the Cannabis case. The statement of the European Court of Justice are the point of reference of the National Court and for European Commission too. And that's working this paper. The European Commission are working on a line the single destination of use regulation with the interpretation stated by the European Court of Justice on the this is the situation now in Europe.
Very, very good. Giacomo, I know you're a very busy man, so our time is up now. I'm going to let you go and get home for your house after a long day, but I very much appreciate you taking your time to do this.
Thank you.
Until next episode, everybody.